Good evening, Cape Flats Stories. Mense van die Kaapse vlakte, hoop het gaat goed saam met julle. As julle ankel. Ek het 'n baie special guest in die studio, maar ons gaan nou by hom uitkom. I just want to talk about the week it was. Last week, we had Karen Corkier in the studio with us, and we had an amazing time. Go look at that interview if you haven't watched it. The other thing is this, die petrol gaat op met 17 cents per liter. Ek weet nie hoe gaan julle maak, ek gaan by die huis bly en wat hulle met my eie eet. But things are going to become more expensive. Diesel is going up with 54 to 55 cents. And very hard, so, 48 cents for a liter of paraffin extra. Especially the people that make use of the paraffin things and that. So that's a bit of a bummer. And I think also they do it every year. So maybe they want us to stay down. Maybe they want us to be safe on the other end. And then we have a new thing that is out here. There's a hotline for the means of it, very Pakistani scoop. That sells expired goods. You guys are welcome to give them a call. If you see any expired goods being sold at shops, especially the Spaza shops, you can call 012-065-1940. And then Sarah asked me to talk about this. En ek kan nie die woord so lekker sê nie, ek is van die Cape Flats, ek het 'n bietjie van 'n Mike Tyson speech. But deskless workers, according to the report, they are struggling, people that are struggling to find permanent jobs, and they're struggling to make ends meet at the end of the day. They're struggling to get jobs, and the problem is that these people get jobs for a day or two, and then they have to wait for another job. And it's quite big in the USA. 80% of the population there are deskless workers, and here in Cape Town the same, as Africa the same as well. So this is a very interesting topic. I would like to hear more about your views, and I think we should dig into this next time, get the expert in and tell us what can be done to create jobs. We have the mayor also coming in. Maybe this is something we can discuss next month, if he's willing to talk about it. But yeah, and then also Sunday, yes, I was at Cape Town in the Parara. So I went to go watch the lights, the switch on of the lights. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. It was something free for all of us. And I was actually surprised to see the mense van Bontewil, Menenberg, waar ook al, maar gewys het, jy het nie geld vir julle skoolfees en nie, maar jy is daar. But okay, it was also free. I think it was an amazing lineup. Dr. Victor and the Rasta Rebels. There were some other guys. Fakhri Isaacs was there, one of our friends, and many others. And I enjoyed myself. So, I should not be so nie, but next year, if you guys didn't go this year, go next year, wait 365 days, and then you can go with us. But without any further ado, I've got a young man in the studio. He's very young. He's very funny. I think you will recognize his voice from radio. He was in Good Hope FM, and we're going to talk more about that. I think he was with Nigel Pierce as well. Hy het altyd in die oggend het jokes gemaak. That time wasn't that funny, but he's the quite now. His name is Dalin Oliver, and we are proud to have him as a colored representative in the studio. Dalin, welcome to Cape Town.
Man, what's it, man?
Lekker bro, en jy?
Alright, lekker. Thanks for having me, man.
No, it's a pleasure.
I love the intros. I love everything. Your Afrikaans did Afrikaans, your English did English. We all have that slip of the
yes, we do.
Yeah, I had that on stage over the weekend at my show.
Okay.
I think I said expansion, but then the Cape Flats popped up. I was like, and then the expansion. I was like, it will catch you.
It will catch you.
Our roots is strong, and there's nothing wrong with our roots being strong.
That's in the DNA.
It's in the DNA. It's in the DNA. I had a wonderful politics lecturer when I was studying.
Okay.
And colored excellence as well. And I was proud. I'm like busy finishing a PhD, but I didn't know where she's from.
Yeah.
And then in one of the lectures, she slipped as well. She was supposed to say beneficial, but then she said, and this will be beneficial. I'm like, see you. I was like, too much love for you. I just wanted to hug you and go, it's fine.
You're one of us.
You're one of us. You're representing. You're quiet. You're in the space.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. Dalin, you have been busy. But let's go back quickly. Before we go into the busyness, where did you grow up?
So before we go anywhere, firstly, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite. You guys do amazing work.
Thank you.
I love your work. Love the stories that you talk about. Love the people that you interview. I'm born and bred in Retreat, Ardley Park, just off 11th Avenue, behind St. Mary's.
Okay.
If you're coming from the M5, you take the second right, not to Sesame Estate, that's next to the Civic. And that's where we grew up. I had the best of memories, my closest of friends. We were 7 that grew up together. We used to play cricket, I remember, and soccer at St. Mary's and at the Civic. So we used to play against our friends from 12th Avenue, Cavender side, and then from 6th, 7th Avenue side. So that was like the triangular, the Cavender Lighties, the Ardley Park Lighties, and then the avenues. And that was our school holidays. Yeah.
And like for you, it was living like the people living in Fairways and the people in Parkwood. But
we weren't that sturdy.
But Kevner's people, I had a lot of friends. Most of them went to Grassy Park. Which high school did you attend?
So I went to 2 schools, very important, very proud of both of them. I went to South Peninsula High, SP.
Sturby?
Yeah, thank you. You're going to call me more Sturby after this. So both of my sisters finished up at SP as well. My daddy was a governing body chairperson. For 2 terms, so for like 8 years. And we always teased about it going, that's where he would meet a lot of my friends in the governing body hearings. He wouldn't expel them, but he would suspend them for smoking dacha. So I'm like, yes, that Brian you interviewed today, that's my brother. And then I matriculated at Wyberg Boys. So now you're going to call me more Sturby. Very Sturby now. I was a good cricketer growing up. I played provincial cricket. Born and bred at St. Augustine's, Paul Adams, there we go, one of the heroes, Grassy Park, Plumstead High. And I grew up at Saints. I started playing there from 10 and then played province under 15, 17 captain, under 19 captain, 2 years in the academy. But then I changed schools, cricketing opportunity came around, and then I spent April, grade 10. To matric at Wyberg Boys, but I left SP in March of grade 11, so I went back a year. I didn't fail. I went back a year, but I obviously failed, right? But I went back a year because I would have matriculated at 17. I went to school a year earlier, and then my mom was like, how do we make sure that you are mature enough to leave at 18? And then when this opportunity came, the rest is history, but love both schools for what they contributed to my life.
Sy praat nou so, ek het 2 keer gedryp.
There's niks verkeerd. There's nothing wrong. Look at you now. And that's important because there's so much pressure placed on kids now more than ever with social media. So your failure, in inverted commas, is highlighted immediately. But life experience will go. Take a deep breath. Failure's the beautiful pressure that builds the diamonds. And we all go through it to get to where we need to be.
And that's the thing that in our community, I think we should focus more on. When our kids fail, how do we get back from failure? Because I mean, Dalin, when you were young, we saw our parents struggling. But we never understood what they went through.
You don't have perspective.
And they didn't also share with us because it was like a grown-up thing. But I think we need to prepare our kids for one day, if they should fail, how to come back.
Very, very important, because it's not about the now. It's about the 5 years. It's about the 10 years. But it's also that a very fortunate position I was in. I had a very good supportive system with my parents. They were both together, with my sisters. So whenever we were pursuing something, it was like the whole family was in it to win it, and let's figure this thing out. Whereas maybe if it's my friends or if it's like this across the road or from different avenues or different areas, didn't have that support system. But in that same breath, you can have that whole support system and still just be on the back foot and the back end of everything. So I just think for our youngsters, they need to know that there's an adult in their corner. And there's an adult who, I'm married for a year and 3 months now. Yes, and 5 days. 5 days. 3 months, 5 days, 22.4 hours. Thank you.
Well done.
But the blessing that comes with marriage is now as an adult, you have someone who's in your corner 10 million %. Awesome. And you don't experience that when you are single in your 20s, etc., etc. So the youth must know, even if it's not a motherly or fatherly figure that's present in their life, it's that cricket coach, it's the soccer coach, it's the neighbor, it's the auntie or the uncle who's in their corner. They just need to know that there's someone in their corner. We'll give them a hug. We'll give them love. We'll say it's okay to drop your guard. It's okay if you fail. You are worth more than. And this current moment doesn't determine your future. However, you historically are in a great space because we have opportunities and access that our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents could only have dreamt of. So we've got to figure out how to nurture them and make sure they can shine.
You said something about our youth now, and I think the one thing about that is that in our community, not everywhere there's opportunity. I mean, my own son, I must take him out of where we live to a place in Constantia to go play rugby. I think it's still unequal
Yes.
in many cases. But how do you motivate a young person?
Yeah. Access is so important, man. And a lot of the time, majority of our ladies don't have access.
Yeah.
And for me, access was through sport. That was the access point. So because of cricket, I got to play across all communities, whether it's in the suburbs, whether it's in the flats, whether it's the townships. I got to see the city, different areas. I got to meet people across the color line.
Yeah.
I also got to travel the country through sport. And this is where our community clubs play such a crucial role, where that used to be the hub and the lifeblood of the community, whether it's cricket, soccer, or rugby. What's the saying? A kid in sport is a kid out of court.
Correct.
Which is not a lie.
Yes, no, it's true.
Which is not a lie. That's where a lot of the ladies who maybe come from circumstances where it's single mother or father households, that's where that fatherly or motherly figures are there who have planted seeds that wouldn't have been planted. And for me, the tough thing looking at society now is going, there's not the investment in our community sports and club environments that there should be to allow those spaces for the ladies to have access. And the people who are there are doing the most amazing things with such little resources. So it's always that thing of going, if you were involved with whatever club when you were a kid, it's important that you figure out how to give back to that space in whatever means possible. It's not just financial. It could be time. It could be mentorship. But we can't leave our communities and expect growth to happen within it. We need to be positive voices in those spaces for people to have a reference. JP Dumini, Strandfontein, hero, doing amazing things. Like they see him in the plane and Strandfontein and go, yeah, but he comes from the same place as we do, and representation is important. We see that with Sia Khaleesi and so many other sports people, Benny McCarthy, Desiree Ellis, where we go, they represent us, but so much more, and their story gives hope because the challenging and tough circumstances they came from, the resilience that they had in a time when opportunities weren't maybe as rife as they are now. So as difficult as it seems, I love one of the quotes over here. It's just be lekker, but the other one, tell her what you must. Tell her what you must, and be proud of your roots, be proud of your culture, be proud of your community, be proud of your accent, be proud of the people and where you're from. I always speak for my parents are from Steenberg, and my dad is from Steenberg, but we grew up at church in Steenberg as well. And you must always be happy for those moments because it's salt of the earth people that gave you the best possible foundation in life, so that you never feel like you're above people. You always meeting them where we are. You can be in a room with the CEO, but that's boring. You can sit with the uncle at the braai and be comfortable and be lekker and comfortable in our spaces, which is important, and celebrate it.
So, Dalin, you were also at one stage a school teacher. That was the manier. Now you're a comedian. You were the guy that actually told the guy at the back at school. But no one said so.
It was so my educational background. This is how I got into education. My mommy, Dalin Oliver. My mommy taught for like 30 plus years, and then
that's long.
She was in it to win it. So then what happens? She went, what are you going to do after matric? I just want to play cricket. If you play sport, your dream is to play professional cricket. I never made it, and I'm not that angry uncle. I got an injury. Shall Gibbs took my place. No, that's not me. I was there's always a story. My calf muscle got hurt in a provincial game. No, uncle, relax. That's not me. I wasn't good enough to play at that level, right? But I celebrate my friends who are playing at that level through and through. So my mom was like, why don't you teach? I'm like, yo, mommy, I'm just so energetic and how am I going to teach like this? And she sold it to me with, you get holidays, Dalin. You get school holidays, which means you'll be able to still play sport. You can coach, you can be involved in different spaces. Studied education, qualified as a high school maths and history teacher, and taught for 5 months a total, so it wasn't that long. But it was a temp post I remember still doing, and that was the teaching time that I needed to know that this wasn't my calling for now. If I wasn't in education or if I wasn't in comedy, definitely. But I started comedy in 2010 November 24.
14 years ago.
14 years ago. And then 2 years later is when I finished my teaching track. So by then the comedy bug it bit, and I actually wrote my history honors thesis. What a blessing, how's this, my bro? I did it on comedy and colored identity. So I interviewed as a lady who's doing comedy for a year. I got to interview Mark Lottering,
Wow.
Stuart Taylor, Kurt Schoenraad, Wayne McKay, Shimmy Isaacs, David and Oscar, our Joe Barber legends, Brent Palmer as well, and Solly Philander. So I got to interview the 9 of them about comedy and colored identity post 94. And that for me was just like, wow, you told our stories, man.
Yes.
And you celebrated our stories, and you told us it's fine to sound this way without being shy of it and going, this is our communities and this is our people. So by the time I was done teaching, I've got this influx of comedy. I went, Mommy and Daddy, just trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. I always laugh and say, I studied for 5 years at UCT and now I'm telling jokes in bars. Like, imagine that conversation with a colored mother going, listen, Linda. But they were amazing. They were amazing because I've been very blessed with a supportive home structure. And they were like, do your thing. And I told them, if I'm going to work, I'm going to coach cricket, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to work at events, I will work to make money. Don't worry about me. But if in a year or two's time I ask you for money and I don't give you board money anymore, you moet your board betaal, right? Because that teaches you how to be an adult. You can't just live for free, right? And you put in your own petrol, you go now, you must live properly, you must learn how to be a proper adult. I said, if I ever come ask you for money, then you go, my son, are you okay? And up until this day, they haven't had to go, my son, are you okay?
Wow.
They now just listen, even if they don't understand, and they just do it with so much love. Like when I started my first shows, they were sometimes the door people at my show. They were helping selling tickets, they were selling DVDs. And then I tell my dad, if anyone comes that you like, don't take photos with him. And then after every show, it'd be like, yeah, but I took a photo with Mark Lottering. I'm like, it's fine. He's one of the retreat brass, you're allowed to. He's one of the OGs. So education, I still love if I can end up in the space one day. But comedy was a true calling because we don't know if this is a possibility. And we're standing on the shoulders of giants who created spaces for us to do this and say, I want to be a professional comedian.
And something that you actually mentioned, I just have a question here quickly. So I don't know if you know Joe Emilio.
Yes, I know Joe Emilio.
Joe is an amazing guy. He was in the studio a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, oh yeah.
So Joe said I must ask you, but ask him how he ended up looking like Vin Diesel.
It's all that 5-up chips for the barbie. I took over my body. It's all the cracker snack. Cracker snack and La Bamba beef over the years.
Okay.
Yeah. That was one of my first jokes I wrote. And I die inside and I tell it now. I say I look like Vin Diesel who took the expired vaccine. Like, this is all the side effects. Vin Diesel you order off Timu or Vin Diesel you order off Wish. Yes. Yeah, those are good jokes that I love. I was very fond of it.
So the question is now, a lot of people are funny on TikTok and on Facebook.
Yes.
But they're not funny in real life.
And that's okay.
But they also...
I'm there for it. I'm there for it. Is there a question I want to hear?
The question is, like many of these people will then, if they're funny on TikTok, they will go onto the stage.
Yes.
They get disappointed.
Yes.
How do we talk to them?
Yes.
You know,
I think as society, we need to understand that there's many forms of comedy.
Yeah.
And we need to celebrate the online comedians. I say this very sincerely because I can't do what they do. The way in which they make funny videos and make content go viral. I go, well done. Like, I love that there's more comedy spaces because the more comedy spaces, the more people win. So if they love online comedy, that's great. But then some people love stand-up and they're going to come to shows. But humor is such a South African thing.
Exactly.
And humor, we must all traumatized. We're all traumatized as South Africans, right? And that's the world. So if there's more online comedians, amazing. And I always tell people, don't throw shade at them. We live in a world where technology is a thing. I've tried my best. Sometimes the things that I think is the funniest I say online. I'm just doing like this because I'm making a selfie video. It's not the funniest. But I go, then this Brasso who can make videos going to 1 million views.
Yes.
Just like that. I can't do that. And that's okay. I think as long as you know your, and I say lane respectively, knowing what you want. So if people go, what do you want out to stand up? I go, I want to be on stage. And I want my craft to grow on stage. That being said, I'm not opposed to figuring out the online space. But my main squeeze is being on stage as a stand-up comedian. So no, shout out to the online creators, man. I could never do what they do. Oh, they're hilarious. I love that TikTok has given people voices we would never have seen or heard. Sometimes I'll go through the algorithm and I'm like, this is funny. This is funny. Especially like if it's deep colored culture stuff. I'm like, this is hilarious. I can never stand toe to toe with this online. And that's okay because I don't want to. But we can laugh at this for sure and we can spread this good news of look at this funny person. And if any of them ever want to jump on stage, I'm always like, message me.
Yeah.
I'll put you in touch with all the comedians who run open spots.
Yeah.
Because that's what comedy should be. One big, loving comedy community where everybody can eat and everybody can win
Yes.
and find their comedy voice.
So how was COVID for you? I mean, with
Yeah.
being in comedy, I mean, a lot of guys
COVID
didn't
was
make
tough.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how was it for you the last? I mean, we literally came out of COVID sometime last year.
Yeah.
But the first 3 years.
It was tough. It was tough, man. I was very, very fortunate because I was still working in radio at the time.
Okay.
So we just started our breakfast show with Stan Mars as the host. I was a sports presenter on that breakfast show. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
You mentioned Nigel's name. Sure, I worked with fantastic hosts.
Awesome.
From Guy McDonald to Nigel Pierce to Dan Corder to Stan Mars to the stand-ins, having like a stand-ins with Bradley Knight and Danilo Acquisto.
Wow.
But the friendships that you form in that space is fantastic, right?
Awesome.
But I was very fortunate as a comedian to have that sports broadcasting radio side. When COVID came, I still had a job. And a lot of my friends who were maybe doing it full time without any media spaces, if it's sports or other entertainment spaces, it was really difficult. My wife's a singer and she comes from a musical family. A lot of their friends were selling equipment, selling instruments just to get by.
Yeah.
And sadly, some of them, they lived, which is a blessing because we lost a lot of dear friends and family members, but they never pursued the art afterwards because they needed to get the job. So I was very fortunate, and that first 6 months was interesting because we're going online now. And the one lesson I took from COVID was be open to adapt.
Yeah.
You can't have a linear model where you go, this is what I do and that's it. Be open to adapt. If you were fortunate enough to live through COVID and you didn't come out with a new skill, you should have like serious introspection, I feel, as an artist, because now I'm learning how to edit, even if it's on CapCut. I'm like, what doen my vingers? What is happening here? But you must learn, you know. My daddy played the guitar, and then he taught me how to play a while ago. But I was changing and having fun with it. I'm like, add new skills, add new avenues and isms to your toolbox, to the armor. So make sure that you are agile and able to adapt, so that when we get back on stage, we realize what a blessing the space is, and not taking the gift of our craft for granted. Because coming out of COVID and still being able to be a comedian 4 years later, brother, I don't even have the words to articulate how grateful I am, because we made it through, fortunately.
But you came out of COVID, thank you so much, got married. 2 weeks after 2 years ago.
Quick. We don't waste time in the Oliver household. Yeah, so my now wife and I, we were dating so this is how it worked. We started dating in April of 2022.
Okay.
March, April. Then she did a 6-month singing contract on the ships, on the cruise liner. So now we're long distancing. And then she came back in October. And then the July of that year, of the following year, I still went to a daddy. Did the honorable thing.
Okay.
And I have a daughter's hand in marriage. He said yes. And then not even 3 weeks later, the 14th of August, we were engaged. The 27th of August, we were married.
Wow.
The 29th of August, we left to Australia because I went on a 2-month comedy tour. We also went to go visit my elder sister. She came with me for a month. We didn't tell anyone we got married. And this was Cape Town. And talent culture, we got married in 2 weeks. No, she's pregnant. She must be pregnant. I got messages in Australia going, congratulations to the lady. And there's no children. There's no kids yet, right? You want kids one day. And then I was laughing, going, whenever I see people, I say, no, the kids are here, but we left them in Australia. Yes, they're in grade 8 now. But no kids yet. And it's been a year and 3 months and a couple of days and a couple of hours, and enjoying the new season.
Okay.
Really, really excited for what lies ahead. And I've become the cheesy uncle, man. Because I never knew it's this good. And I think you don't know that until you're fortunate enough to meet your person. And I was just fortunate enough to meet my person, and this happened. So very excited for what lies ahead for us.
But now, she comes from a very well-known family. And we're going to dig into that part now.
Pleasure.
Her father is a legend. How did you guys meet? I mean, did you listen to you?
Richard Caesar, you beauty. Yeah, shout out to Richard Caesar for being part of that generation that allowed us to dream.
Wow.
Yeah, if they didn't do it, we wouldn't be able to across the arts, man. So we met. I knew a brother Vaughan.
Okay.
Because we had mutual friends, Matthew and Gary Kleinfeld, who I went to school with and grew up in the cricket circles with. But I never knew that. I'll call him Richard now as a because we were artists, as an artist, as a peer. I never knew Richard had a daughter.
Okay.
And I never knew Vaughan had a sister.
Okay.
So our friend Lauren, she was organizing a gig. She's a fantastic actor and actress at least. And then what happened was it was music and comedy. So her other friend, Jodie Fredericks, was performing, and I was performing on the bill with Jodie. I was the stand-up for the night. So Maxine came along with Vaughan. Then I saw Vaughan and went to go say hi. And then I'm like, oh, is this your wife? He's like, no. I'm like, is fiance? No. And like, girlfriend? He's like, no, it's my sister. Then in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to chase. Yes, please. Thank you. No, but I say that jokingly, right? And then we chatted after the gig. And she didn't know I was a comedian. I didn't know she was a singer. We didn't know anything about each other.
Yeah.
But the conversation was so good and so fulfilling. It was the first time in a while that I just had a good connection with somebody. And I didn't get a number that night. No, I didn't get a number. No, I waited. I'm playing hard to get. I'm like, wait, yes. And I didn't want to slide into a DM.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm old school. I'd say, I want to ask you for your number. Then I went back to the gig a week later because my sister was staying up the road. And then she's like, oh, why are you here? I'm like, no, I went for supper for my sister's house. Obviously not. I came to them. And then the brother went to the toilet quickly. At the gig, I'm like, listen, your brother's making plokko, man. Give me your number, man. Come we hang out sometime. And then she gave me a number, and the rest is history.
Wow.
That's how we met. And then meeting Richard for the first time, he was actually playing at Pizza Shack.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, in Ottery.
Ottery.
Did the name change?
The name changed. What is the name now?
I can't get
It is the place in the corner. Yeah.
On the corner.
Yes. What's the name?
It's coming.
It's like a pool or so.
Yes. Yeah. There's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a comedy show and a baptism. Just happening there. we kicked over that stage one night. I'm like, these party mense, wat gaan dat? But that's where we met for the first time, and they were amazing. My mother-in-law and Penny, they've just welcomed me into the family with so much love and warmth. And similarly with my family, they're friends. Because you always hear horror stories about in-laws, but they all get along, which is great.
Yes.
And that's what we wanted. That's what we envisaged, I guess. Even prior to meeting our person, going, you kind of just want your in-laws to click.
Yes.
So that
Pilika
and love can win.
Yeah.
We don't want to scowl over festive. We don't want to scowl over silly stuff, over Tupperware. Come, guys. And I'm just glad that they welcome me in and vice versa.
And I mean, I would feel if my father has that deep things on his soul. He's a general in the music world. People know him. He's been in the music for a long time. You know, I still remember me at long hair. And he still have long.
Steven Seagal.
Yes.
The Steven Seagal van die Kleinflits, van die guitar en die piano speel.
He's brilliant.
No, he's a maestro. I love watching him perform. Like, if we're going over for Sunday lunch or we're just hanging out, I'll just be like, sing for me, man. Just come, just sing. Just sing for me. Please, Daddy, just sing for me. Just sing for me, that's all. And I'm such a fan as well. So whenever I'm in the space and music's in their blood, so when you go over to visit, he's either on the keys or music's playing. And that's how Max grew up with music in the home all the time. I remember when we were still dating, and I fetched her, we went out, and she was still staying at home with the parents. And then she's like, oh, Vicky's here, eh? I was like, who's Vicky? She's like, Vicky Sampson. I said, my African dream. Yeah, you must go and just say my African dream is here. Like, this is normal, bro.
Yeah.
And then, because Vicky is very close with him, and I was like, oh my word. For me, as a creative and as an artist, I'm like, these are the pioneers. These are the people who broke down barriers for us. Being in that space, which was normal to her, for me, I was going, yo, this is wild. Like, if my mommy says Vicky's there, it's not Vicky Sampson. This is Vicky September years ago. You know what I mean? So just being able to be part of that family, but also they're such down-to-earth people and down-to-earth humans. They plat, feet on the ground, and just such kind souls, first and foremost, because like it says over here, and we always speak about just being liquor, you don't want to hang out with people who are in the same WhatsApp group with you, where they're high and mighty about water, and that's never the case with him. So for me, that was the biggest thing, going, oh my word, Caesar is the happiest person in the world. Richard is just a jovial human being who loves making curry. That's my only request. I'm like, listen, can I come for Sunday curry? And then you can play me music.
Sound like a music, like a love songs.
Like a love songs, but a sister jazz.
Dalin, you were also on the radio.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
Talk about the while and then we get to the
Yes.
conclusion of the while.
Yes. Radio was amazing, man. Radio was a art form that I grew into. I like what you said when as you said I was with Nigel, but I wasn't that funny yet. I grew into my radio voice, and I always tease. I should never have been on air initially.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. So the story with Good Hope, they were always kind and sincere to open the doors to me. They had a campus DJ search at UCT, and I won that leg. Did it by chance in April 2010. Okay. 5 months later, I started comedy. So 2010 is a crucial year in my career. But then when I knew I wasn't going to teach, I approached then program and station manager Natano Baragi and Gerard Muller. Always grateful to them for replying. And they still had a competition called Laugh Master. I was a finalist in that as well. So I'm going, listen, campus DJ search, Laugh Master. How do you get into radio? No one ever tells you. I don't know if you study it or not, but I'm finishing education. I don't know if I'm going to teach. I'm going to take a year off to do comedy. If there's anything that can happen, please let me know. A few chats later, a few emails later, then something popped up. In my first show as a freelance sports broadcast on the 26th of December, Boxing Day, with Nick Hammond, who's now with 5FM, in 2012. Okay. And then a spot on lunchtime opened with Stan Mars, Vanya Kluter-Collison, she was the news anchor. And then they just welcomed me into this space. Very nervous. I was a stand-up comedian, but I didn't study journalism.
Yes.
I have a sports background, but now I had to learn on air, raw, right? And then 2 years after that, got bumped up to breakfast, and then it was with Guy McDonald, and then into Nigel, into Dan, and into Stan at the end. And I was so fortunate because of the amazing people that worked around me. Carl Wasty was the sports broadcaster when I just started, so he was so Esther, took me under his wing. Sandra Rosenberg was the news anchor with Vanya, took me under the wing. Jerry Olbach, and I worked with fantastic people, and I think those fantastic people allowed me to find my voice and allowed me to figure out who I am in terms of a radio space. And then with Stan, he just let me go. He was like, be a comedian, find your voice. It's like a great reunion after starting on lunch with him. And I think I only found my radio straps out of the, say it's lunch and breakfast, say that 10 years, not the 2 years freelancing. I'd say about 4 or 5 years in. And in the last 4, I really kind of found the juice that just before COVID. And when I say the juice, it's going, knowing the beautiful craft of radio, because we're very fortunate in Cape Town. We come from a good school of broadcasters in the, if it's late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, etc. We've got a good thoroughbred core of radio people. So being exposed to that and those thoroughbreds, I always count my blessings, because I'm like, that's where you cut your teeth. They put you in your place if you're out of place. But then you also learn how to have hair on your teeth and learn how special Cape Town is and learn how you form part of people's daily lives, etc., etc. And then in March, this year, it all came to an end. Bittersweet moment, but the start of a new season. Last year was a lot of traveling. I was in Australia for 2 months to stand up. Then I went back to a festival in Perth for 15 days. And I could slowly feel that the new season is coming. And then with marriage and the narrative of I want to travel more with comedy, the time had come for me to say, lekker williewerkers. That's what I used to call them. Good morning, goeie oggend, goeie sport, goeie genade for the last time. And I was always fortunate to work with the most amazing people. And I have nothing but love for the station and for the people that I worked with, because you always want to be in spaces where your colleagues are your friends. That creates amazing moments off and on air, off and on stage. And I'm still friends with them now. I popped into the station last week, but also now get to have the freedom of movement and enjoy popping into KFM. I was there with Tracy Lang, and she was at Good Hope when I was there. Yeah, so Tracy was there. But Ibrahim Inglis, I did my first campus DJ audition show with Ibi when he was still on Good Hope doing the 10 to 2 slot. So that was great moments for me, where I look at all these people who opened doors in my life, and now I get to call them peers and friends. Nigel Pearce, son. Nigel was, we sat fast on and off here, but I still maintain, even though we sat fast on and off here, I've had my best radio shows with him. I loved working with him. He was the ultimate professional who had the highest of highest standards, and for me as a youngster to be in that space, you must show up every day. I remember if you were late, So if you were late, Nigel wouldn't let you phone in sports
Okay.
or anything. You must be there on time.
Okay.
6 o'clock is when we start.
Yeah.
I still phoned him one day at like 2 minutes to 6. Nigel, to be late. Nope, no sports is happening today. I'm emailing the buses. I'm like, "Bruh, please, like, no. I'm going, listen, this is what it is. We understand the assignment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed the season in the moment, but now it's good going into the next one.
Somebody's asking here, Abdul Malik.
Yes.
What's your response to Tell Me a Joke, man?
Tell me a joke.
You know, if you go to the malls or something.
I know. All the uncles tell me jokes. And I love that about Cape Town because every uncle will tell you a joke and they'll say, but you must use this in your next show.
Yeah.
And then you say, yes, uncle. You're like, no, look at me.
Yeah.
You must use this. No? For me, meeting people who enjoy what I do is the most rewarding thing. I love connecting with people. And I'm not just saying that. You can hear I talk a lot. There's a lot of energy here.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of love because if people don't enjoy what I do, I don't have a career.
Yeah.
So for me to meet the people who enjoy any sort of laughter or humor that I bring to their life, whether it's on TV, whether it's on radio, whether it's online, whether it's on stage, I appreciate that. Even with my shows afterwards, if I'm running at the theater or at the club, I'm like, come say hi afterwards. Come take a photo. I want to meet you, man.
Wow.
I want to put name to face because there's people who have been at my show since the start who are still coming to shows. They are newcomers. And I go, come say our way.
Yes.
For me as a Cape Townian and South African, that's my reward.
Yeah.
Where I get to have a moment with you and say thank you. I can never thank you enough, but thank you for supporting my career.
And I think that is what it is about. People want to interact with you as an artist, and I think sometimes we keep them away. But what you are doing is you're giving them the opportunity. Coming from a retreat, you are giving other people
the rivers. Yeah, the rivers. I was on Cape Talk with Lester Kivitz. He's also a retreat poetry.
Okay.
Yeah, Sesame State, the 7945. And we were teasing, we were saying, because you never go forward, you always reverse, in the reverse. But yeah, it's so important for us just to take ownership of our spaces and represent who we are in the most purest form.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started comedy, a lot of people would say, hey, me bro, why aren't you speaking more Afrikaans? Why aren't you this, that, more slang? I go, that is my lived experience, but it's also not my lived experience. So I won't even do the colored stereotype accent.
Yeah.
Because I go, unless that's my accent, then I will do it. But if it's not, this is who I am.
Yes.
And yes, I have friends who speak like that, I've got family who speak like that, but that's their story to tell.
Yes.
And when we do that, we also break down the stereotype, we celebrate who we are, but to get people to laugh with us, not at us.
Yes.
I never want any audience member to laugh at me because of a stereotype about any culturalism, about the accent, about the no front teeth thing.
Yeah.
There was a time for that, especially with the no front teeth joke. Sometimes people still tell me, I'm like, maybe it's 2024. Yes, we know the auntie and uncles are there and bless them, but we move forward now. You know, and even when you speak about coming from the Cape Flats in whatever area it is, maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was something that was frowned upon.
Yeah.
But now it's something that's celebrated. So whatever your hood is, you must make sure that you represent it in the best possible way because we in the spotlight. There's people who's not in the spotlight as well. And that's the heroes. So people would always go, who's your heroes? I'm like, it's the mommies and daddies who wake up every day, go earn an honest living to make sure that their kids have the access and opportunity, that their kids, the first in the family to finish matric, the first in the family to go to a tertiary institution. That's the heroes because they're making sure that against all odds, they're still giving their ladies the most possible opportunities. And South Africa is a tough country to live in with its harsh realities. And the moms and daddies are doing that. I'm like, man, that's most the heroes. Yes, I'm in the spotlight because of stand-up.
Yes.
But that auntie over there, she's a Easter member. Without complaining.
Yes.
That is up 4 o'clock.
And every day.
Every day. And that's a type of love that you will never be able to articulate unless you experience that.
Awesome. I just want to ask our viewers, if you guys have questions, this man is here for tonight only. You need to ask your questions. I will read it to him. I think it's very important that we ask him questions. And then you were recently overseas and you saw potholes. Groot potholes.
I saw potholes in Australia. Yes. So the place we were in, there we go, it was called Inverloch. Not out the lock, Inverloch. It's about 2-3 hours from Melbourne. And it was my sister, my wife, and I. and we did a little road trip. And I saw this massive private school bottle, but it was a beautiful bottle, man. You know, when it's like someone dug this bottle out and then put sand and cement on the side. It was a perfect circle. But then I made a video to say, guys, there's bottles in Australia. And obviously we teach South Africans. That's the best thing about us. We can laugh at ourselves. But the funniest thing for me, even when we're in England now, very privileged to be able to travel like this and perform in different spaces. And in Ireland, we were making fun of the weather and going, listen, honestly speaking, if you're South African, how do you deal with the weather here? When do you do your washing? You come from a country with sun. If you're moeilijke uncle when you left and now there's only winter here, are you more moeilijk, are you less moeilijk? How does it work, right? And similarly with that bottle video, a lot of the comments, the negative ones, would come from South Africans who live abroad. And I'm like, but now why are you catching a plane from another country? Yes, you might be a citizen, or you might be visiting there, or you're only living there for a few years. But see the joke in it, man. It'll be like, if you don't like it here, then don't come here. I'm going, okay, auntie, uncle, relax. Oh, man, there's no need for this, you know. You can see if something's done with comedic intent, or if it's malice. So that's the social media space you play in. There's always going to be almost three sides, your side, the other side, and the truth. So there's all these movements that's happening. But if I can make people laugh and tease about the things that are real and sincere, then I'm happy. Then I'll make more bottle jokes.
But now, performing that side of the world, how was that journey for you? How did they accept you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of growth, a lot of growth. I have grown so much as a comedian in the past 4 years. I feel like I only found my voice post-COVID. I feel like I'm really finding my voice and who I am as an on-stage comic and the comfort levels. So even when I went to Australia last year for the first time, I was writing the show there. So the show's called 90 Day Comedian. They give me a 90-day work visa. Like 90-day fiance. People go there for love. I'm going there for jokes. If I'm not funny, they send me home, right? So figuring out the show there, and you quickly learn in all these countries and cities, when you in South Africa, you don't know their isms. So you don't know the tone which they use on and off stage. You don't know how they speak about race, culture, etc. So only by being there are you able to navigate the space. But the beauty about being South African is we in diverse spaces all the time. So if I'm performing in retreat, if I'm performing in observatory, if I'm performing in Kailicha, if I'm performing in Mitchell's Plain, if I'm performing in town, if I go to Joburg, if it's Melville, Soweto, and then I go Krugersdorp, etc., etc. All those are different cultural spaces. So in every space as a comic, a South African comic, I have to look and read the room and go, who's in my audience? So by the time you have the privilege to travel, you look and go, okay, now I need to adapt. But also I need to be aware of slang. Because we slip into slang very quickly. They don't understand our slang. When I did use slang in shows, I would explain it to them because it's a very proudly South African show where I go, we are the best kept secret. We have everything the world has and more. You guys need to know that. We're quiet. We're quiet. And we want you to know that we lekker people. So when you come to South Africa, you don't come for the man-made and natural beauty only. You come for the people. You come for the culture. You come for the food. They can't understand our food is such a love language that if you visit us, we give you food to take home to say thank you for spending time with me. As normal as that is here, that's not the normal concept outside of our borders that I've experienced yet, right? So then you're on stage, you start learning the isms, you start learning that our English is not the world's English. Because we use our own English. Brother. Half the time, even if we don't understand each other, we're like, oh wait, I understand the assignment. And that's a beautiful thing, right? But then you start learning how to navigate the spaces, but only because I played across the festival shows, the club comedy shows, and my own shows. It's more than 100 performances over the past year abroad where I go, have I built the stage time and experience to be able to be comfortable. And also be comfortable in the quiet moments, knowing they're listening, and be comfortable in moments where you're getting into the gag, and also being a bit having grace with yourself, because as South Africans, we're hard on ourselves. We were like, we must do it, but giving yourself the perspective of, I'm a foreigner in this country, I'm an immigrant. They don't know much about us. Culturally, explaining colored culture to them is very difficult. I'd speak about being colored on stage. I'd say I'm colored in South Africa.
So you're taking us over there?
Over there, proudly. Nice. Then I tell them, but then I say it's not a swear word. It's a beautiful word. We celebrate it where I'm from. So it is always important to let them know this is our history. So don't get offended on our behalf but hear our story because it's amazing. And when I describe South Africa, because they can't understand how we're also diverse and how we all have different accents, because it's not one South African accent. So when they go like, but why don't you sound like that person? But you don't look like that person. Like my sister Liesel, she's cappuccino, frizzy hair. When they saw her, they go, can't be your sister. I'm like, this is my biological sister, my bro. This is my family. But because of what's normal to us isn't normal to them, and it's not their fault. Because if you're not exposed to something, you can't understand it. But those who have visited go, best country, love the people, love the food, fell in love with everything about it. And if I can give them a window into us without stereotyping, but celebrating who we are, then for me, I feel like I'm being true to my voice and my art.
Do you think we've been stereotyping? Because I mean, being stereotyping, a lot of people overseas, if they Google Cape Flats, they see guys with no teeth, and they see guys with tattoos, gang tattoos. I'm not saying tattoos is wrong, but gang tattoos with drugs and stuff. Do you think that is still playing a very big part in
I don't know who's doing our PR. I don't know who's doing our PR, my bro.
We need a new
I don't know who's doing our PR, but when you Google that, that's a lot of the time what will pop up. Even in the news interview a colored uncle, they always go with the Demaka uncle. And they're like, yeah, no, from the
on national TV.
On national TV. And then people go, yes, you see, I told them they're like that. And we go, no, there's another uncle over there. You should have spoken to him, right? But I think we are working extremely hard to show the country and the world that we are so much more than the stereotypes and the labels. And that's very important because everyone's voice is so different in colored culture. Our stories are so different but the same, and it's so fluid. So colored culture is a beautiful thing where my experience growing up in the retreat could be a bit different maybe to someone in Curls River, Mitchell's Plain, Blue Downs. Now you go to Joburg, if it's in Eldos, Durban, if it's Newlands, etc., etc. But through that differences, there's still so many common features.
Exactly.
And I think we need to start celebrating that more, and also stop pulling Maka down. We're always fighting with each other. Cape Town better than this one, Joburg better than Durban, better than. I'm going, Yenne, if we were a unified voice, do you know how amazing we would be as a people in just telling our stories? And I think that was so powerful for me the first time I saw Mark Lottering and Joe Barber. And I use them specifically as references because that was the pirate copy era. That was the pirate copy era. That was the pirate copy era. From the Cape Flats to the Love with Mark and with Joe Barber there, which was the first one. But that was our stories being told in a way in which we've never heard before. Where we celebrated it, where even with me, my Afrikaans is akentak, right? The Afrikaans ladies will chase me, right? But I understand completely. So when I listen to Joe Barber or anything in Afrikaans, I'm like, I'm there. I can speak it, I can articulate it, I can feel it. But that is so close to all of our hearts in different ways. And then as an artist going, okay, that's the framework with which we write, where we're celebrating who we are and our identity. And us as a people. And also when you do that, and even if you haven't lived in the area, you've had bits of experience to it, and you go, I know your story, even if we weren't growing up together, even though we weren't friends. And I think that's very important, the positive representation that we need so much now more than ever. And not just famous people. I don't think there's a lot of famous people in South Africa. I say this cautiously. If you are famous, I'm sorry. But I feel like we can see everyone in the mall tomorrow. You can see someone in the mall tomorrow. And as South Africans, we'll go hug them. We'll go say hi. But also not only the individuals who's in the limelight. Like I said earlier, those aunties, those uncles, the professionals within the community, those aunties and uncles who've been at the sports and community clubs, just serving for years and years. We must always celebrate those people in their respective spaces. Because they've impacted so many people's lives without us even knowing it. The unsung heroes.
Yes. We're almost coming to an end, but I just want to focus more about your career as a cricket player.
Hey! It wasn't much of a career, but let me hear.
No, I want to hear, where did it start and where did it stop?
Yes, so I started, we would play in the road all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Retreat was in the driveway or in the streets or the Civic with some ladies, like I said. And I loved cricket, like 7 days a week, cricket. We didn't know where I got it from because I don't come from a sporting family, my mom or my dad's side. We always used to tease because my grandpas, my late grandpa on my mom's side, my mom's dad, they grew up in Black River initially, right? And then we always just tease and say my pa was in fencing.
Okay.
But that's because he used to jump the people's fences when they were chasing him, right? And the other one was my dad's grandfather. My dad's father, we used to say he's a canoeist, but that's just because he was in the canal with the boy. But that's silly stuff we used to tease about when you try to figure out where the sports gene started. And then St. Anthony, in Midfield, that was first exposure to. It was at the time Baker's mini cricket, and then St. Augustine's at 10. It was the closest club, so we could walk over Galaland from where we lived, and then that's how we got to St. Augustine's. My daddy didn't know, I didn't know, and had the most amazing time there. Only played for one club, Saints. Very, very proud of that. I went to Wymark. I'd broken service because I was at Wymark Boys from grade 10 until 12. I played first team at the age of 15 at Saints. Yes, I was playing with seniors already at that age. As a first, like SP to score 100. Very proud of that.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I got a nice mention in the assembly and a certificate from Mr. Isaacs.
I
get to know, brother. Very proud of that. And Saints was amazing. I'm very proud of being at Saints for so many years because this is always important to me. You can go to a school with resources and access and have the opportunities like I did by going to Wymark Boys, but go back to the community clubs because that club would service if it's from Retreat. So it would go either Lavendale, Retreat, Steenberg, Deep River, Heathfield, Grassy Park. And then if it's not there, then it's Peninsula, which is by LMB Drive. Then Bluebells also, that's at Roy Krantz. And then that was kind of the three clubs closest. Victoria was on the M5, still is. So going back to the club, make sure you're coaching, be involved. I was coaching juniors for a long time. And I loved it. I loved every part of my cricket upbringing there. I played 2 years in the Province Academy. Dane Patterson is playing for the Proteas now. I was his Province captain under 19. We were in the same side. Good people. Yasin Valley was playing for the Cobras. Dane Piet, Proteas, Offie. We were in the academy together. Shadley van Skalkwyk was a Retreat boytjie. Shadow, the LMB Drive side. Shadow is playing for America now, for the USA. Made his debut at the World Cup. So seeing my friends and my peers flourish for me is the best thing. But one of the biggest blessings with cricket was, I don't know if you know Mo and Ali. So Mo is, our link to Saints was Basil de Oliveira. Basil de Oliveira unfortunately couldn't play for South Africa because of pre-94. Then he played in England and he's, was at Worcestershire if I'm not mistaken. And his son Damien, the late Damien, rest in peace, he was at Worcester, and then Mo came over as a England under-19 cricketer, and he played for 2 seasons at the club. What a time. And even playing with Basil de Oliveira's grandson, Brett. He's playing for Worcester, professional cricketer, but having access to these spaces with people. There's so many more others that I got to play with as a club cricketer, who's going, I'm not going to play at the next level. Because when I started comedy at 21, even though, yes, I might have wanted to push cricket more, I was like, nah, cricket is bye-bye. Stand-up is the thing. And I'm not the sad uncle. This is it's very important.
You can be being
But I played until about 30. So I played 1A, which is the top club level. And I'm always very proud of this. I captained Saints. I captained us to promotion and relegation in 2 seasons. I took us up and I took us back down again. And then stopped playing at 30 just because of work. It was very difficult to balance cricket and stand-up and pursuing this as a professional, as an artist. And I'd love to play one day when my body decides that it can actually
play again.
I played socials, bruh, 2-3 years ago. I was sprinting, I pulled a hamstring. My body said, brother, your mind thinks you are faster than you are. But cricket, the discipline of cricket taught me so much in life. Because I think every kid, even if they're not that sports inclined, be involved in a sport. Because it teaches you how to celebrate others. So even if I wasn't doing well, it taught me how to celebrate my teammates. And as an artist, you need that peace of mind. Okay, it's not my season, but hey, my friends are doing well. And it also teaches you the discipline of training. If it's cricket, soccer, rugby, whatever sport, hockey, you know, these are the times, this is what you need to do. As an artist, you go, these are the things, this is what I need to do. And if you can implement that discipline into your craft, you will find the growth and success, hopefully, that you desire.
But you said it very nicely now that we need to celebrate one another. So if you don't play good this season, then it is fine.
It's okay.
Celebrate the other, bro.
Through and through. It's like the more South Africans in this space the better. The more comedians in the space, the better. Because if there's a South African wherever, that people is going to go, we like South Africans now.
Yes, yes.
And that's why when you speak to anyone about South Africans, they go, yo, you guys are hard workers.
Yeah.
We go, no, this is normal.
Yeah.
This is just normal
Yeah.
to us, right? So even if I don't get a booking and I see another comedian there, I go, that comedian's going to be amazing. That's going to open the door for another comedian.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this was always the case. I had to grow as an individual and find the peace and maturity to go, everyone's journey is so different.
Yeah.
We all have different lanes we're in. And I think once you figure out your why, why are you doing this? You start having the peace and you start celebrating people more and the way you should celebrate them.
Yeah.
I'm always of the opinion there's enough to eat for everyone.
I agree.
Just keep being good people first and the rest will follow. And it's very important not to have that crab in the bucket mentality where we're pulling each other down. Going, no, it's not my gig, it's fine. Well done, man.
Yeah.
If anything, can I learn from you? Come and go for a coffee, man.
Exactly.
When I started comedy, I was lastig.
I wanted to learn.
Messaging all over koppe. If it was Skoenraad, Taylor, Musa, Latri. For a coffee, man. I just want to talk. What? You're lastig and you like it. I just want to hear your story. You're doing this thing that I dream of doing. I want to hear what's in your brain. And then they're kind enough to just meet you and talk to you. And that's where you learn that asking is not a bad thing. The worst thing someone can say is no.
Yes.
And that's okay.
That's all.
But druk and ask and push and be kind, sincere in the way you're doing it, man.
I love that. We have 2 minutes left, but I want to. You have a show coming up very soon with the Schoon Time with the Moching Schoon.
Yes.
Tell us more about that show.
It's family, it's festive. We're very excited about this. We've always wanted to do a family show.
Okay.
And we were trying to figure out the right time, the right venue. And then we went, listen, let's do it in festive season where everyone's family is down from wherever. When we have those moments, we want to reconnect with people. Let's do it in that week of the year where everyone is off. So it's on the 29th of December at the Baxter Theatre Garden. They've got a stunning outside area. And the show's it's family, it's festive. My father-in-law, Richard Caesar, my wife, Maxine Caesar, my brother-in-law, Vaughan Caesar, myself, Dalin Oliver. I'm not singing. A lot of people are like, are you singing? I'm like, no. I'm emceeing. I'll be keeping the show together. We'll be laughing and you'll be bringing lekker vibes. But it's family friendly. Bring the kids, under 12s, over 12s, whatever the case is. Bring grandma, bring grandpa. Bring people to have a lekker time. And if they want tickets, it's on the Baxter website or webtickets.co.za.
Okay, awesome. You guys need to go out. It will be there. We will see it later on. So you guys need to go and support him. I want to put you on the spot as we come to an end. You are a colored Barachi from the Catholics. That's been difficult. It wasn't easy.
Yes.
No?
We're still working. We're still working. Yes.
These young men are there that dreams to be like a Dalin Oliver.
Sure.
They have dreams.
Sure.
What would your piece of advice be to the young girls, the young boys? How do they get to where you are currently?
Yeah. So I'm finding my space and I'm pushing and trying to create as much as possible. And I mean this sincerely when I say this because it's a good question. And I always go, Penny McCarthy, Desiree Ellis, Salt River, Nova Park. They didn't know where the football journey would take them. And now they're shining on the global of global stages and representing us as South Africa, us as a people, us as colored culture, us as colored excellence. And it's so important for you to know that your circumstances don't define you. And there's always someone who's in your corner, regardless of how tough it might seem. There's always someone cheering you on. Find the people who's your cheerleaders. Find the friends who's the best possible support system. You don't need many. You just need 1 or 2 in your corner who understand the assignment. And you go, we're going to be in the first in the family to do this. And it's easier said than done. But emotionally and mentally, you are strong enough and you're capable. And there are people wanting you to win. We all want you to win. Even if we don't know you, we want you to win. Because this is the generation where we go, there's more of us. Representation is important. Representation matters. Be proud of your people, be proud of your culture, and celebrate what makes you unique as an individual. And if that's the story you want to share with the world, just go out there and fly, man.
Dalin, thank you so much. It was nice having you.
Thank you.
I used to listen to you on the radio.
Thank you.
Now I have you in the studio.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and for joining and for sharing with us about your life.
Thank you. Don't take my advice, kids. Stan,
Thanks, bro.
thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks to the listeners. Cheers.
Listeners, thank you so much. That was Dalin Oliver. You guys can follow him on his Facebook page. Yeah, I see you on Twitter as well. Eh?
Yes, I'm on
He's
Twitter.
oral TikTok.
TikTok, yeah, TikTok a bitchy.
Follow for him. And please share this live as well. And
Yes.
please support local. Go to his shows, support him, listen to his jokes, laugh, and just have a lekker time, man. I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy. Cheers.
Away.